England was under a new era under Brendan McCullum. Bazball, 4 consecutive wins heading into this match against South Africa. What kind of cricket was South Africa going to play? Dean Elgar and the rest of the Proteas did not even care what Bazball was. They were going to play their style of cricket. What happened? It's finally happened, folks. We all thought Bazball was reckless and all that under a quality attack. It's happened. England suffered their first loss under Brendan McCullum's coaching tenure. A loss by an innings means that South Africa have now consolidated themselves in their race for the final of the ICC World Test Championship cycle, which will be played, incidentally, at Lord's in 2023. So what transpired in 3 days of this attritional test match? Actually 2 days, considering that the first day was totally impacted by rain, it actually got over in 6 sessions. So I will give you a story, the key stats, as well as who are the top performers for England versus South Africa. As Bazball, England were playing, South Africa were playing Bouch ball. Mark Boucher, knowing the conditions and playing according to the conditions, South Africa came out on top. This was the first test loss for England under Brendan McCullum. Remember, he had taken over when New Zealand had come over. England had won it 3-0. He was there when England chased down 370 plus against India and Edgbaston. But at Lord's, under a quality pace attack of Kagiso Rabada, Anrich Nortje and Marco Jansen, they were really found wanting. Lord's is the home of cricket, right? Well, if you have to go further, this is actually South Africa's fortress. Ever since readmission in 1992, South Africa have played 6 tests and they have lost only once. This was South Africa's epic win, considering they had won in 1994, they had won in 1998, they had won in 2003, they had won in 2012, and now they had finally won here in 2022. Their only loss in this entire period since readmission came when Joe Root's first test as captain happened in 2017. That was the only loss. Otherwise, South Africa's key moments, 2008 was a draw, 2012 they had beaten England and they finally became the number 1 ranked test team in 2012 at that time. What were the key match highlights? This was a pitch which assisted the pace bowlers on a consistent basis. So, Sarel Erwie and Ollie Pope were the top scorers with 73 apiece. But it was the burst from Kagiso Rabada and Anrich Nortje that set up South Africa's epic win. Kagiso Rabada took 5 wickets and he also took 2 wickets in the second innings. In the process, he went past 250 test wickets. Kagiso Rabada's strike rate in the modern era when it comes to bowlers is simply phenomenal. And he showed it yet again why he is one of the greatest bowlers that we have currently. Kagiso Rabada 250 wickets and Anrich Nortje, that burst of 3 wickets in 2 overs, simply killed the game for England. There was once again a question of whether you would play according to the situation and according to aggression. England did nothing. They didn't play with caution, they didn't play with aggression. They were caught in between. That's why Stokes was out cheaply, Bairstow didn't fire, Joe Root fell cheaply. And remember, the opening conundrum still continues to be England's Achilles heel. Zach Crawley yet again, Alex Lees once again. If you have to take out the Edgbaston test, the rest of the times they have struggled. Clean, plain and simple. So, England's batting struggled on both innings, and that is why they have lost by an innings. 6 sessions the match ended, considering that the first day was washed out due to rain. Imagine, that was England's plight. So South Africa are 1-0 up in this 3-match series, and with 2 more to play, if they win the next one, it changes the entire equation. But this win has actually changed the entire World Test Championship point standings. South Africa are now first on the table, followed by Australia. Looking at the fixtures and looking at the gap that is there between the two, between the top 2 and the rest of the 5 teams who may potentially be in contention, it is very safe to assume that it could be an Australia versus South Africa final in the World Test Championship in 2023 at Lord's. Because remember, if South Africa wins the next series, wins the next 2 games, they'll be on top. Even if they win 2-1, they'll be on top. But if they lose the series 2-1 from this point in time, then Australia will be on top. Now look at what are Australia's and South Africa's fixtures. Australia will play 2 tests against the West Indies. But we were thinking India versus Australia could be a potential curtain raiser to the final. It's actually not. Perhaps the 3 test series between Australia and South Africa could be the curtain raiser. You may see these 2 teams fight it out at Lord's, because the gap is far too much. It is on percentage points, remember folks, it's not on points. Percentage points, it is South Africa and Australia who could hold the edge. And remember, if you get anywhere over 65 percentage points, then you're more or less assured of the final spot in the World Test Championship. So South Africa are on top. Even if they win the series 2-1, they will be on top. If they lose the series, they will only slide down to number 2. Remember, Australia and South Africa, there can be only one winner, or if the series is drawn, then both teams are more or less assured of a place in the World Test Championship final. India, on the other hand, will have to win their remaining 6 tests. They have to win 2 against Bangladesh. They have to win 4 against Australia. This Australian team on current form doesn't look like getting whitewashed 4-0. On the other hand, this victory by South Africa has potentially ended even Pakistan and Sri Lanka's chances. Because Pakistan, remember, they have 3 tests against England, and against New Zealand they have 2. Their overseas assignments are done. Now they have to hope that Australia thrashes South Africa and that Pakistan win their remaining 5-6 tests so that they can be the number 2 team. Whether that happens in the next coming few months will be very, very interesting, folks, because the Australia versus South Africa series, potentially Australia versus India, these 2 series could determine the top 2. And remember, Australia, South Africa is your curtain raiser at this point in time. Looking at the point standings, it's the curtain raiser for the ICC World Test Championship. So South Africa will be heading to the second test full on confidence, and they'll be hoping to win a series in England since 2012. Remember, they lost in 2017, which was a big jolt. Now they'll be hoping that they can bounce back and win in 2022. Thank you so much, folks, for listening to this live. We'll be back with more updates and analysis. Press the like, comment and share button. We are also there on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, folks. Thank you.